The sound of the men working on a chain gang kickback. All right, so the officers they say this a lot. When it comes to dealing with people like me, they say they're not trained for that. But I know they're trained in murdering hobos and Negroes. I mean, really, I don't understand why people keep wanting me to go to the cops. I'm a hobo. Thank goodness I am not both a hobo and a Negro, because then, well, I would be absolutely loved by these trigger-happy motherfuckers. Now, it's weird being here, because unlike Nebraska, where they want all black people to just fall off the face of the earth, here they've got a very large BLM following. So here we are, we've got these cops who are trained to shoot hobos and Negroes that don't know what the fuck to do with themselves now. Oh my God. They pull people over more than anywhere else I ever been. For such a small town, those cops just spend all day pulling people over. Most of them ain't even committed a crime. These cops are just fucking bored. So they pull them over and give them a bullshit ticket. You know what a bullshit ticket is, right? They're not actually going to give you a ticket. They're going to stop and talk to you and ask for your license and registration. But really, they didn't have a valid reason to pull you over. You're just fucking bored. On the bright side, Hood River is bigger than Chapel, Nebraska, so there's more actual crime here and they got more excuses. Whether it's valid or not, from here on in, they're all excuses. I don't know if it's valid, and you're going to make excuses whether my reasons are valid or not. You're not going to look, you're not going to bother to find out, you're not even going to bother to listen to understand. You're going to make excuses. Now, I keep looking up the laws for good reason. A lot of people have broken the law. A whole shit ton of them. Now, I don't want those people in jail. I don't want them in prison. But then again, I'm willing to fess up to my shit and face my time. They weren't forced to lie. Nobody held a gun to their head. Oh, there's a good question there. Did anyone hold a gun to their head? Figuratively or otherwise? Well, figuratively, yeah. Otherwise, well, yes. People threatening to kill Sarah Bacon and her husband and her kids, that's holding a gun to her head. People threatening to kill my little sister and my niece, and cops who I've been trying to turn in, following her. Not okay. Yes, absolutely, they held a gun to my sister's head to prevent me from turning these people in. To deny me access to that help. People like to throw in my face the desperate things that I was forced to do because it's nobody's fucking job. It's nobody's fucking job. It's nobody's fucking job. You know, we had chain gangs for legalized slavery after the Civil War. After the Civil War, we had a bunch of anti-hobo laws that were created all of a sudden magically out of nowhere, as well as now suddenly the United States is running off of the Roman rental agreement that was, well, over 1,000 years old by that point, over 2,000 years old by that point. Well, I guess that would depend on whether or not that happened in the Republican days of the Roman Empire, when it was a Roman Republic, or whether it happened later during the Imperial. The very first emperor of Rome was who? Octavius. Renamed Augustus. Augustus Caesar. Alright, so when it comes to the chain gangs, oh, don't you know that's the sound of the men working on a chain gang? That was because we got 4 million Southerners, or 4 million black Southerners, who are all of a sudden homeless. Furthermore, they don't have any money. They have no prospects. They're just 4 million homeless black people. So then they make it illegal, every aspect of homelessness and vagrancy and transience, and, well, they've got a whole bunch of other synonyms that they can use. You don't own a house and you don't live in a house, you're a fucking criminal. That's as simple as it is. If you're convicted of a crime, that very same law, the 13th Amendment, that is supposedly supposed to free slaves, just took those slaves out of private ownership and put them into the ownership of the state. Something we have carried on ever since. Oh, you're a hobo? You broke the law. You're a hobo who had to go pee? You broke the law. You're a hobo who wants to go to sleep? You broke the law. You don't have a house? You broke the law. So we got 4 million black homeless people. And of course, those laws didn't just apply to the black homeless people. No. People don't want to see poverty. You don't want to see those hobos, even the white ones. You don't want to be reminded that that could be you. They're filthy and they're disgusting, even though you're only one paycheck away or one beating away from becoming one of them. Who has it worse than the blacks? The homeless, by a lot. Who has it worse than the homeless? Black homeless. Even Mandy Singer said that. We homeless are well aware of that fact. Yes, if you're black and you're in a house, you don't get to bitch at us about how fucked up your life is, because you're just being a bitch. But if you're black and on the streets, yes, you are going to be harassed more than the rest of us. On average, you're probably not going to get harassed more than Zach Boatman, because he's a prize to behold. He truly is. Whenever they start getting low on the jails and they need to lock somebody up, well, shit, he don't have to commit a crime. It's Zach Boatman. They'll just lock him up anyway. Fuck it, nobody cares. It's Zach Boatman. He's schizophrenic and he walks around telling people he's Lucifer. So, who cares, right? Who cares about his rights? Anyway, it's probably about time for me to leave. I only have my parking space here until 4:02. The reason for that is, even though it's a public library, well, all this parking here, this side of the road, that side of the road, it's either private parking or paid parking. So let's go down to the marina. We'll see if anybody's there at the DMV office. We'll see if anyone's down there at the DMV office. And not to talk to the DMV, it's because the newspaper. Let me show you. This is the building where the newspaper was at. See, right across from the library is where the newspaper used to be. But now the newspaper is in the DMV building. The reason I know this is because I went to the door to go talk to them and I saw the signs. Now, obviously, you guys know how I feel about soldiers. I have zero respect for them. But when it comes to veterans, I have nothing but respect for them. After being on the streets with so many of them, there is no way I can't respect that. A soldier can tell me that they're fighting for my rights, but it's the veterans who are fighting for my rights. Because my rights aren't being violated in a foreign country. My rights aren't being violated in Iraq or Afghanistan. My rights are violated here. And my friends who are homeless veterans, they're fighting for their rights, same as mine, right here on American soil. Where bad laws like the 13th Amendment that needs to be abolished are used to victimize the most victimized people in America. One in 8 homeless people is a veteran. 1 in 10 is a combat veteran. Their rights are being violated, same as ours. Now, I'm often asked when I try to get help, when they find out I don't have family and I don't have an actual advocate, they ask me if I was in the military. No, my disabilities bar me from the military. Which is odd because they kept on denying me my disability because I had to do these things myself for years and years. By claiming I'm disabled, the military kept me out, but I wasn't disabled apparently because I had to go in by myself, but magically I am disabled now. I've got the same condition I had then, except now I have added physical disabilities. These people took advantage of an at-risk adult in a desperate situation to get away with the crimes that they committed. These are felonies. The police aren't the only ones who committed these felonies. The FBI did as well, and so did the Secret Service. They took part in these felonies to assist my predators in getting away with their crimes. I'd already attempted contact with all of those agencies with the exception of the Secret Service. The reason that the Secret Service is involved is because I told you the truth. I absolutely 100% threatened to kill President Donald Trump. Is that something I should have had to fucking do? To try to get help. Try to force the cops to take a look. I was hoping that the Secret Service would take the situation seriously and look at the evidence, because in the process of investigating whether or not I'm actually willing to kill the president, they would have seen the evidence of the wrongdoing of officers, the fact that I was trying to help, the fact that I was being threatened, harassed, intimidated, and assaulted, and had been speaking up about it for over a year. Somebody typed something to me about prayer. I take zero stock in prayer. If you want to pray, I'm going to tell you right now it's going to do zero good. If you want to pray and make an effort, that'll do some good. If you make an effort, that'll do some good. If you choose to pray and make an effort, if you want to give all the credit to your imaginary friend, whatever, go ahead. But if you pray and you put forth effort, it is you that is going to get the praises from me. Sure, you can tell me that God moved you to do it, but you are the one who actually did it. Now let's see what they actually said in its entirety. Jung Shuki Koo is their name. And praying for you, man. I hope things get better for you. Sometimes we can't always accept our flaws or differences, but I think in the end we all move. See, that's just a whole bunch of horse shit this idiot typed. No offense, Jung Shuki Koo. But this is those pretty words I keep telling you about. These are not solutions. It's not advice. It's not help. It doesn't get the evidence turned in. It doesn't get me an advocate, an actual advocate. I thought Meg was supposed to be an actual advocate. Anyway, praying for you, man. Prayers don't help. You hope things get better for me. Well, effort is what'll make it better. Without people making an effort to speak out and show the real truth, the actual evidence, as hard as my predators are working to prevent that evidence from being shown or coming forward or being heard, your hopes don't do me shit. It says sometimes we can't always accept our flaws or differences. You're right. Most people don't. I try to put myself in other people's shoes before I make decisions. These people never tried that. Now that's a generalization though. But I think in the end we all move on. No, we don't. We don't all get to move on. For some of us, this destroys every aspect of our life. That slander was allowed in court with zero evidence. But I was denied the right to go to court and the right to show evidence. The right to face my accusers. I was denied those rights because I was incarcerated. Meanwhile, it's illegal for them to deny me the right to go to court because I'm incarcerated. But they can deny me the right to do any of the things that it's going to take, the things that an attorney would help you with, but you don't have an attorney because you're broke. You get a public pretender who doesn't give two shits about you, especially if you're male. If you're a crack whore who is selling your punani to feed your meth habits and you get busted and you got 2 kids, well, that public pretender is probably going to at least pretend to try to help you. With me, they didn't. They broke the law repeatedly and they didn't care. They did it blatantly and outrageously open, but it was just me. They cut me off from the telephones. They cut me off from the mail. They cut me off from all of the resources that I needed. Now, it's not that I didn't make the effort. It's that I didn't have any assistance. It also says, I hope you can find happiness in this world. You know, I try every day, but I'm victimized every day. I live in hell every day. I can't get help every day. People are nice when they blow me off, sure. You know, they don't want to be rude, but they, well and truly, just do not give a shit. They pretend to care, but they don't want to be rude. They don't want to be rude. They don't want to be rude. Rude matters, doesn't it? It's fine to fucking murder somebody if they're rude, isn't it? Meanwhile, most of you are so used to having to sugarcoat everything that, well, you're being rude by sugarcoating every goddamn thing instead of being straightforward. Now, why are you not straightforward? Because you're a fucking bootlicker. That's why. Why are you pissed off about me cursing, but you're not pissed off about police murdering my loved ones? Or the general public murdering? Or the Bollingers with human trafficking, child molestation, neglect? Jung Shu Ku retracted his message. MRRM typed, have a good evening, bro. Yeah, go there next venue, bro. Kaihu Valley, Dargaville, 11:10 a.m. Sat. I don't know where Kaihu Valley is. I'm in Oregon. I don't know how I would get to New Zealand. Isn't Kaihu Valley, isn't that in New Zealand? Am I right about that? Anyway, my time is obviously up. I had about 10 minutes left when I started this video. It's been 20 minutes I've been recording, so I gotta go. I'll look up the Cayuga Valley and see what that is. I don't know what that is, though, Mr. MRRM. Mr. RM or MRM, or I'm not sure, how you pronounce it, but there's no vowels, it's all consonants. It might stand for something, but I don't know. All I see is 4 letters. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper. By the way, those chain gangs that were created because of the 13th Amendment were Adolf Hitler and Fritz Sauckel and Hermann Goering and Heinrich Himmler. It's all of their idea. Their model for concentration camps, their model for forced labor camps, all came from the United States chain gangs. Which, by the way, in the 1940s, were still in use. Were still in widespread use. And even today, in the South, it's extremely common. How does the state make money off of a slave? Well, they make it illegal for a private citizen to force a black person into a cotton field to pick cotton. And then, well, those people throw all the slaves off their property, and then the government picks them up and then puts them right back in the fields picking cotton. What is the number one product that is picked by slave labor in the United States on these chain gangs? It's still cotton. It is still cotton. That's right, the South is still using black people as slave labor, and they're doing it on the government level. Well done, Civil War. You proved America's a bunch of lying fucking pieces of shit. Sure, it was supposed to end slavery, but they put a stipulation in there. If you're convicted of a crime, well, that gives them plenty of incentive, doesn't it? These cops don't know what the fuck to do. They're not allowed to shoot hobos anymore. They're not allowed to shoot homos anymore. They're not allowed to shoot Negroes anymore. God, what are they going to do with themselves? I gotta tell you honestly, with black folks, I don't know what the politically correct term is anymore. At this point, I don't care. It's kind of like whatever the fuck your pronouns are. I can say them and they. I'm fine with that. Of course, it creates a confusion issue there because there's a lack of descriptives. Just so you know, if I see a cross-dresser commit a crime, I'm going to say it was the cross-dresser. Because I don't know what the politically correct term is. And saying a they or a them did it doesn't fucking work. It was a they. They did it. Them. You getting how you got a severe lack of common sense? I came to people to turn in crimes, and they told me it wouldn't work and used that as their excuse not to try. Because they did not try, it did not work. Some of them, months and months and months after the fact, finally made an attempt. And what happened when they finally got off their ass to try? Then cops were surprised I was able to get someone to look and try, and so they fucking panicked. Committed more felonies. Left a paper trail. The problem is, they're in charge of the paper trail, not me. They get to decide whether or not I have access to that paper trail, not me. They can outright lie to a judge at 2 o'clock in the fucking morning and get a warrant, but for me it takes an act of God. What these officers did in the Natalie Marie Bollinger case and her murder was highly inappropriate. Is highly inappropriate to this day, as I've been continually forced to go to these jurisdictions where it is unsafe because of false charges, false allegations, and abuse by the system. Just because you were convinced not to look at the evidence because I screamed doesn't mean the evidence doesn't exist. And I didn't start off screaming. By the way, fuck this goddamn country. God bless America. Fucking twats. Anyway, I gotta try to come up with a plan for an effective way to kill myself and make as big of a mess as possible. You either find a way to help me, or you help me to get assisted suicide legal, so I can do it right. You know, I do have a vehicle. I can find a short wall and slam into it as hard as I can and see how far I can fly. If I picked a good solid brick building or a solid stone building like that one right down there. You can see the church. Yeah, you know, if I went through a regular brick wall, I'd probably fly right through, and I might actually survive. Doubtful, but it's a possibility. If I fly into that building, there ain't no surviving it. I fly into that cement retaining wall there ain't no surviving it. Why did I attempt to kill myself in January of 2018? Because so many people were telling me that their lives were being threatened. People who were offering to help me, having their lives threatened, their families threatened, over and over again. And then Candace Bondurant going out of her way to help to fan the flames, going out of her way to lie and to misrepresent the situation. And I tried my best to get that bitch into court too. Did that actually happen, Candace Bondurant, or are you a lying piece of shit? Now, I tell two sets of stories here. I tell the set of stories that is my story to tell, and then I also tell you the stories that the cops told. These people want to be angry and call me a liar when I repeat what the cops said, but they didn't bother to contest it in court. They didn't bother making a police report. They don't mind calling the cops liars because they know the cops are liars. But also, for a lot of them, that was their excuse for never coming forward. They know the cops are fucking liars. All of you do. And those of you who want to look the other way or make excuses, well, you're just shitty as any Nazi who ever existed, including Heinrich Himmler, Herbert Goering, sorry, not Herbert, my most sincere apologies. Of course, Adolf Hitler, right? And Fritz Sauckel. Fritz Sauckel was really, truly the mastermind behind that. He's the one who had to set up all the organizational skills. And they had a perfect business model right here in America, still operating. That's right. You guys should find out what the fields around Tuskegee Air Base. You should find out what it's been used for. That's right. They're cotton fields. The things we want to say are so horrible that Nazi Germany did, we did the same things, and we continued those things. Many of them until today. Even with blatant proof, you want to pretend that your national pride trumps everything else. Your national pride makes rape okay. It makes murder okay. It makes abusing at-risk adults okay. Well, time to go.